Sanders became the first Browns quarterback to win his first career start since Eric Zier in 1995. Shedeur had 209 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in the effort, which was in front of his dad, Dion. Love to see it. Kmart, you'll be covering Shedeur's second start this weekend against the Niners in Cleveland. And for those that don't know, Kmart basically has residency in Cleveland. I feel like she's there every week. What are your expectations? You've obviously followed this whole situation very closely.
Oh, my God.
What is your expectations for Shedeur this weekend?
So I think for me, I still look at it as I want to see him look like he has command of the offense. I want to see him confident in the pocket, escaping pressure. I want to see him being able to work within the pocket, climb the pocket, and then sort of move around and make the plays that we're used to seeing Shedeur make. I feel like when I look at Shedeur, I don't see him as the X factor for this Browns team because they're wide receiving core. Like it's just not good enough. And offensively, I just feel like it's a tough position for any quarterback, right? To me, the strength of this team is the defense. So when I cover 49ers Browns, I'm looking at Myles Garrett. How is he going to feast on Brock Purdy? I'm looking at the Browns defensive front. But from Shedeur, just continue building. Like, this is an audition. This is not about just the Browns. This is about 32 organizations passed over 4 rounds, almost 5, and now you have an opportunity over the final 6 games, if they give you that long of a stretch, to show that, you know what, I'm not a 5th-round pick. I should have been a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick, and I deserve to be a starter in the NFL. I just want to see continued growth. I'm not looking for heroics. I think the conversation about him it's just become too divisive. Just let the kid, he's a rookie, let him sort of gradually get his feet under him a little bit.
He played okay on Sunday. I mean, he made a couple good throws, but that defense won the game. I mean, they had 10 sacks. And Garrett had 3 or 4 sacks by himself.
He had 3. They had 10 together.
They destroyed. That was what the game was about. But, I like a couple of nice throws. Judy had a bad fumble after a nice reception, so that could have resulted in some points.
Couple nice throws.
Well, he had the bomb
Isaiah Bond, that was a beauty. That was more than a nice throw.
But he also threw a sideline screen that should have been picked off. He threw it way too high, and it was almost picked off.
But it wasn't, right? Okay.
I said it was okay. You think it was more than okay? It was okay in the game.
He played well. To have to go into a game, I thought where you have a quarterback, he's the 2nd rookie on this team. That's a whole separate conversation for another day about how they constructed that QB room. I don't think it was advantageous for any of their rookie quarterbacks. So I thought, given the situation, he performed well, but you can't expect him to just win the game, take over and win the game in the second start.
I thought he played okay. I'm not ready to say that he's the answer long term. Yeah. Let's see what he does in the next 5 games.
Expectations, Steve.
I want him to look like an NFL quarterback, period. I want him to look like somebody that shows that he belongs, that he can command an offense, that he belongs behind center, and we don't have to worry about Kevin Stefanski coming up post-game and being undecided about who his quarterback should be the following Sunday when the alternative is Dylan Gabriel. We need to stop that nonsense. I need that conversation to be put to bed once and for all. And you can't possibly do that if your opponent is the Las Vegas Raiders, because we know how awful they are. It's just that simple. Now you're going up against a real team in the San Francisco 49ers that, despite Bosa and Warner being gone for the season, still has a formidable enough defense and obviously exceptional coaching to do some things. Robert Saleh, he might have had his issues as head coach for the New York Jets, but 2 things. Number 1, we see what the Jets have looked like without him. And number 2, we know that man can coach some defense. And so what's going to be dialed up, packaged up for Shedeur Sanders is going to be significantly different than what we saw this past weekend. Shedeur Sanders goes out there. Let's say, for example, he looks the same this week as he looked last week. Then we're going to be speaking highly of him because we're going to know he's given us the impression that he belongs in this league.
Yes, and obviously he'll get another week of practice under his belt as well. He'll be able to work out with the ones 1 more week as well, so he should have some improvement on that front. But yes, a much more tough defense on the horizon for the Browns as they'll face the 49ers.
Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott are 1st and 2nd in passing yards per game this season. Elias tells us this will be the 3rd ever Thanksgiving Day game between the top 2 players in passing yards. The other instances, look at this. Both took place in the 5th. Tobin Rote and Bobby Lane and George Ratterman. So we're going back a long way in the history to a matchup that we had that's this good. So for a matchup to continue the Thanksgiving thing, a meal this delicious, there's a lot of different ways, and we've gone through a lot of the X's and O's, but then there is the psychological pieces, and I thought both of you had interesting ones. The Kansas City Chiefs, a week ago, and then have to turn it around. Let's go through that again, where they were in that game against the Colts.
Their season hit its nadir last week, the very low point. They were down 20-9 at home with a 5-5 record, and they're marching into score, and Kareem Hunt fumbles the ball in a very crucial possession. It all looked lost at this point, and if you were watching objectively, you're saying it's just not their year. Just things aren't going their way. They lose these one-score games, and this stuff never happens. Hunt goes to the sideline, who's been a long-time Chief, both before and then after his time in Cleveland, and there he is. Travis Kelce's the one lifting him up. I'm also told that Chris Jones grabbed the defense before the next possession and said, we need to lift this team. And they went out and they stopped the Colts on 3 straight 3-and-outs. They were down 20-9 at a 5-5 record at a real juncture, and yet they found a way at the bottom of it all to be the hearts of a champion and get that victory. Can they do it again this week? Can they do it again the week after that? There is such exhaustion in having to do this and dig out of these holes when every game you are the hunted and everyone is giving you their best.
And to your point, they do that. They go to overtime. They ran, what did you say?
91 offensive plays.
And now 4 days later, they have a road game against a surging Dallas team. And Kmart, that's your point. The psychology major from Wesleyan University to my right, the Cowboys' psychology coming off of their win over Philly.
Well, you talk about can they do it again? Can the Chiefs combat a confident Cowboys team? You know, I talked to a Cowboys coach after that Philly game, and he said, we're down 21 points, but we never had a doubt that we would come back. And you know why? Because of Brian Schottenheimer. Because he instilled that confidence in all the players and the coaches on the sideline. They're all saying, one more play. All we need is one more play. Yeah. And when you think about who the Cowboys are, we didn't know what they would be when the season started. When you look at that defense, we didn't know what they would be. But now, they are a team that plays well at home. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs aren't always that good on the road. Nope. And the Cowboys have an offense where you're actually impressed by. You're actually like, they can go head-to-head with anybody, and you're wondering, can the Chiefs' offense keep up with the Cowboys?
So then let's go down the line here. What is the key to the game? Forgetting who wins, what will be the defining, I liked the question that was on the screen there, what will be the defining factor in this game tomorrow?
Oh, can the Chiefs slow down Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? I mean, with Dak Prescott playing the way that's going to be McDuffie's going to match up with one of them, right? He doesn't travel necessarily, but at some point you got to stop explosive plays on the back end, and whether it's CeeDee Lamb, whether it's Pickens, whether it's Ferguson, Dak Prescott is putting the ball on these guys, and it's yards after catch. Can they do that? Can they limit that? Because defense wins championships, and we're getting into championship time. That's just the reality of what it is.
I just want to know, what was the recovery program for the Kansas City Chiefs over the past 3 days? Because I'll tell you what, it's in particular on the offensive side of the football. They need to run the football and keep Dak and that offense off the field.
Yeah.
How often did you say that about the Dallas Cowboys? You need to keep Dak off the field and go ahead and grind out another win. I just don't know if they'll commit to that one more time like they did this past week against Indy when they had to do it. Look, I'm all on board what Dallas has got going on from a team building and from an emotional perspective right now. I think the short turnaround is just a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, I think the key is going to be red zone efficiency for either of these teams. I think both of these offenses are going to have an easier time moving the ball. But who scores 3 and who scores 7, and I think it's going to decide it. There's going to be some aggressive fourth down calls, I think, on both sides. The teams that are successful in those fourth down conversions and end up getting touchdowns instead of field goals, that's the team that's going to win.
Shotty and Dak do not have a long history of big wins and big moments. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes do. This is a big win and a big moment in time. And Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott top that quarterback-coach combo across the field.
It's as good a game as you could possibly ask for. We opened by saying this is going to get an audience.